Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap, and let me explain a little bit about the structure of these webinars, what it's all about here, and what our goal is in here. It's all about here, and what we're our goal is in here, and it's all about here, and what we're Okay, so sorry about that. It's getting echo. All right, so we have an educational course. It's free. It's open to everybody. It's on our YouTube channel. I can show you where that is. It is right here. If you go to YouTube, Bookmap YouTube, you can see, you can scroll down here, bonus materials, go to our Bookmap educational course. Now, parts 1 through 4 here. This will teach you about understanding order flow and how these markets work. That is the goal of this course, so that you can understand and apply order flow. Now, what these live webinars do is go through that same course content and puts it to the test so you can see it unfold in real time in the markets. Then we have two different other traders. We do that Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. And then we have two other professional traders, Jay Trader, a stocks trader, on Wednesday at 10 a.m. and Scott Bolsini, a futures trader, at 10 a.m. on Thursday. Now, we also have a real nice schedule here of other streamers all day long. All right, so let me show you. Go to our YouTube again. You can see that here's our webinar right now. We have Tom B immediately following at 11:30 East Coast time. These are all East Coast time. And then we have Doug Pless, options with Doug, and he'll be right after that at 1:30 p.m. East Coast time. And then right after that, on our Discord channel, if you want to come to this, we have the Algo Boys. We have Gene over there looking at the futures market as well. Come to our Discord channel on that, this is where you'll find it here. You scroll down a little bit, and you'll see the Algo Boys in here. Okay, so and they will be streaming from 2:30 to the close, 2:30 to 4. That's a pretty nice lineup in the education. There's lots to learn and gain from it, and that's what we're here for, is to teach you order flow. All right, so let's go through the disclosures and jump into the market. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. A risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, so let's jump in here. Here's the ZB. Actually, I want to show something in the bonds today, but we're going to jump over to the S&P E-mini and take a look here. This is typically what we look at in these webinars, and it's just due to demand. If you guys want to look at stocks, Bookmap connects to stocks. If you guys want to look at crypto markets, we can look at that as well. Bookmap connects to multiple exchanges in the crypto field. Obviously multiple markets in here in the futures as well. All right, so anyway, and then let's just go through, we always do this, we jump in and go through the order flow, what we see right now. Okay, so in fact, I'm going to take stops and icebergs, the numbers that you see here on the chart. I'm going to take that off right now and just look at the simple chart. Okay, we have stops and icebergs in the lower sub chart here. And what's going on in the order flow? All right, well, here's our cash open at 9:30. Look at the buy volume come in. Guys, these are really, I think quite simple reads, especially like in the morning here on some of these momentum moves, to at least target some of the high liquidity, like up here around this 27 area, and look to see if it could even squeeze a little bit higher in here. Yeah, can I show my settings on Market Pulse, Doug? Absolutely. So we'll jump in there and hold on a minute here. Let me see if Yoakum. Okay, you do have the tool. Got you. Okay, excellent. Good morning, Rob, over in YouTube. All right, so Anyway, and this Market Pulse tool and the volume, we have multiple algos that work within this Market Pulse tool. And that's what we've been demoing the last, I don't know, a few sessions at least. And it is an incredible tool. And we have multiple algos, like I said. Just the volume pressure alone is fantastic. So we'd see if like all markets are on are correlated here up at this 41.30. If we do get that correlation, I'd be looking for 32 would be the next one, and then maybe higher. Okay, maybe up to 40. Right, it's looking pretty good in the S&P. Reading the order flow, I'm looking for it to break out up into 32. All right, and that's just the S&P. This is where this Market Pulse tool is quite amazing. So let's open it up and take a look here. Okay, Market Pulse, and I'm going to turn them all on. Okay, and what I'm turning on are correlated markets here. So we're going to look at the S&P volume pressure. We're going to look at the YM. Okay, the mini Dow. We're going to look at the 6E, the euro dollar. We're also going to look at the Russell E-mini. We're going to look at the NASDAQ E-mini, and really start to understand some of the volume pressure in here. Okay. All right. Oh, I have to unmute them all. Okay, here. Okay, so here we go. I mean, already, like we just talked about this. I'm not hearing anything up here, right? So we're looking for 32 based on the order flow in the S&P, but are the other markets correlated? No, they're not. Right? So what do you do in this case? Well, you can filter out your trade up here. Okay, you wouldn't be looking for the breakout here necessarily. It's looking actually really good for a breakout here. But look at this. Now we're actually getting the S&P selling off, NASDAQ selling off. The Russell is both buying and selling in here, right? So you can see our correlated markets here, we're getting kind of various different signals in here. So therefore, like we're not going to do anything, right? It just filtered out our trade. This just helped us gain some insight up in here. Now, if we start to see it ramp up again here, now we'd be looking at which markets are leading. Well, maybe the NASDAQ, right? Maybe another market in here would start to lead. The Russell, these are typically the ones leading. And look how we stayed out of this action up here, right? Now let's see what happens down here though, because they're selling off. And it's starting to bounce actually. Okay, so now I'm really curious if we do get some buying up here. And the S&P, of course, we'll look at first. Or we'll look at whatever is first. And we want to hear it as well. We want to hear it go across our threshold here of 70%. And I'm not seeing that right now. We see some buying coming in, and it's a pullback right now. Okay, this is how you can also read a low volume pullback. Okay, it looks pretty good, but we know we didn't hear that volume pressure come in. So we know there's more sellers in here than there are buyers. That is a low volume pullback. Right? So if we see more selling here and we start to hear it come in, we're looking for this 19 level or 20 level down here to trade. Okay, so we're really able to kind of gauge some of the markets in here and some of these moves with a lot clearer distinction here, right? So right now, nothing. Okay, well then maybe this is more of a range bound trade. Maybe it comes back down into 22 or 21. Let's see. All right, let me get to some of your questions in here as well. How do you use the 6E, Matthew? Well, I'd love to have the dollar index in here, but the dollar index is 60% the euro dollar anyway. So we're using the 6E as like a dollar index. And then how do we use that? Very simply, these markets have been very sensitive recently here to the dollar. All right, so for example, when the dollar is or the euro dollar is selling off, we know there's dollar strength, and we know usually the stock markets are selling off at the same time as well. Okay, a lot of times you'll see this lead as well. So there's some selling in euro dollar right now. Okay, not much though, and now there's buying, right? So we're getting kind of a conflicting signal here. Right, it's the only one right now that's crossing the threshold. My settings, yeah, that's what Doug asked as well. Guys, I'm just using the default settings in here. Here it is for the S&P, 70%. Boy, I'd love to take the volume down here. I don't know if it actually does it for this webinar though. Anyway, have it way down, and then we have 10 seconds here as the half-life and the training period of 5 minutes, and that's across all of them. Right, I can right click in here, you can go to it and see each one in here. Okay, another way to do this here is we can go to the overall market pulse here. Boy, we're seeing a nice move. Anyway, you can expand all of the widgets up here if you come up to the top, and these are global settings here. Expand them all, and let's take a look here. Okay, so here's the YM. It's at 10 seconds, 5 minutes. We have the same. Boy, guys, I hate to miss these moves when I'm covering settings. So let's take a look at it. I'll cover the settings in a minute, but this is the default, and that's what I'm using on them for the algo volume pressure. Now, just note this, that we have multiple algos in here. We went over price change and I think another one in here. We went over volume pressure, price change, and order size tracker on Friday. Okay, so this is a beautiful move, and we heard the correlated markets together in here. Okay, it took a little while, but they all picked up, and now we're down at 41.15. All right, great. All right, well, do we hear it still? Are the markets still correlated? I bet we're going to get a bounce, maybe back up to 20 here. But let's take a look here. Dollar's selling off, or they're buying the dollar. Euro is selling off. Okay, well, now we see some of the stock markets start to hit, stock indexes. Not yet. Not yet. Note how we can also, we cover these things for so long. We can look at this move down here as potentially trap volume. If we get buyers in on the other side here, look out, look for the move back up to 18 or 20 like we were just talking about. Okay, so let's see if that unfolds here. Yep, starting to see some buyers. Okay, but I'm not really hearing it in some of the correlated markets here. Okay, let's see if we get it now. Back up, another retest back up here around this 16 or 17 level. 16 3/4, 17. Okay, if we do hear it on the correlations, then I would be looking for the move up to 20. Okay. If we hear the sell-off in the correlations down here at 15, I'm looking for the follow-through to the downside. Okay, here, look at Russell starting to pick up a little bit, not much. And that's it. Okay, let's see here. Here we go. Now let's see if the other markets are correlated here. Nothing. Right? Nothing. All right, so yeah, typically when we don't hear the correlated markets, you get another swing and another move. So when you don't see them correlated, it's typically a range bound trade. Okay, you know, I'm not advocating trading it here. This is something I'm still kind of looking at myself and trying to understand. I mean, it makes sense, but I just don't quite see it yet, or see the trade opportunity quite yet. Okay, so look, I mean, we're selling off in the S&P. We have big volume down here, but we're not hearing anything here. Okay, so let's see if we get follow through to the downside, or we come up to this 16-17 level and we start to hear buying. Okay, especially across multiple markets. And we're not. Okay, well, do we get multiple markets here correlated on the move to the downside? Nope. Anyway, you can see how this you can really start to hone or optimize your trading in here, looking for those stronger moves. Okay, now here's the Russell. It's a little bit of buying in the Russell though too. Okay, now see the potential for the trap volume here. Okay, so we would anticipate these correlations up here around this 16.5 level here. Let's hear it and we'll see it. Russell starting to pick up. Okay, YM is selling off though. See how we can look across and see what other participants are doing in here compared to the S&P. So now we're getting all of them selling off here. Okay, so yeah, looking for continuation down to 10 and 05, and maybe the figure down here at 4,100. Okay. Now we can go back and look at the order flow in here and what we see in these moves in here, because we've been covering this for years. Understanding this move here was just about 3 points in the S&P, which isn't bad, but it can reverse and come back up. So we want to make sure that we heard the correlated markets. That's a good sign that this will continue, right? So we will go with that. But tight stop in here on something like that, because we're looking for this to continue, but we want to see a strong move with the correlations. Okay, but the move is still to the downside here. Okay, looking for 10, and then let's see if we can continue on. Now there's the euro dollar selling off. Okay, that's a good sign for the continuation here. Okay, so far this is just a low volume pullback so far. Okay, it hasn't broken structure here. It's just retested where it dropped from. Now let's see, do we get our sellers in here? Not really, not yet. Looking for it though. Looking for the sellers, and then 110, and then the follow through. Okay, euro dollar selling off again. That's still good. Now, are there other markets like listening to this? Are they starting to bite on this? They're starting to understand, like, wow, okay, you know, the euro is selling off here, right? This is a little reversal pattern here in our double bottom pattern here, so we got to be really careful here. Russell's starting to ping. Guys, I've been covering this tool and really focusing on it. There's really something here. This is why like it's been kind of dominant in the order flow analysis recently. Okay, for these webinars, because this tool is really, I think it's something special. We've really got something here to lean against for much stronger trades. Okay, so that's why I've been covering it. We haven't even looked at our higher time frame analysis yet or anything. We're just following the current order flow and market correlations. Right, so again, this was like a low volume pullback so far, and we're back in the middle of the range. Okay, we did note this is a little double bottom pattern here on leg one. Some selling, very little here. Buyers here, look for the top of the range in here. I mean, we cover that pattern many times. Now we're back down here. Now I'm looking for sellers here, and I want to hear the correlations right here, right now at 11.5. And if we get this, I'm looking for the drop through 10 down to like 05, and maybe the figure down here at 4,100. Okay, euro again, very consistent. They're selling off again. Okay, now let's hear if we can hear it in the stock indexes. Right, we're starting to understand this correlation here a little bit better. This seems to be leading in here, but you know, then we get these little pullbacks in here, and then the Russell starts to hit. So that's what's happening. And that's just fact, the last few moves in here. Okay, and it's been really choppy since this more directional move that we saw here. But again, look at this directional move, right? Okay, I mean, it went above here, but it failed, and it came back in. Okay, again, right now here, there's our double top pattern. We're looking for our sellers to come in. Bottom of the range here at 10 we're looking for that to unfold here first. Okay, and we want to hear this in some of the other markets. Let's see here. Good morning, Luke. All right, I'm sorry guys, I've been trying to get into the nuances in this, and thanks ProK for helping out here. Let's see if USD is selling off. Yeah, I don't know. Abby, I haven't really looked at that correlation, so I don't know. Can I elaborate on the CVD? Absolutely, follow. Yeah, this is another one. Maybe this, you want to look at correlated markets and then you want to look at your CVD. We can take stops and icebergs off here for now, and look at cumulative volume delta. Okay, whatever, you know. So cumulative volume delta is not really giving us much right now. We can see that basically this move here with those market correlations has been the one that has kept this in a range here so far. Okay, so again, I want to hear it now with some of these correlated markets. This is looking good for finally the follow through. There we go. S&P, NASDAQ looks good. Now let's hear it in some of these other markets in here, and let's look for follow through into 10 and through it. And nothing. Here we go, our rotation again. All right, we should get the drop here. And we're looking for follow through, guys, not just a drop. We're looking for follow through down into our 05 and maybe the figure here. Okay, we know that the euro was selling off earlier in this range in here, and now the stock indexes are more in line with that dollar strength. Okay, this took a while though to work out, right? But we noted that, or we kind of remembered that with that euro dollar in here. And we didn't hear them buying, you know, the euro. Good morning, Johnny. You're welcome, Abby. Let's see here. Okay, say a prayer for your car, Luke. All right. Good luck with your car. Okay, yeah. Navi, you want to look at some icebergs in here? Sure, absolutely. Let's take a look here. You saw 1500 and the icebergs in here. Yeah. Yeah, quite a bit of iceberg buying in there on that move down, right? Maybe that's kind of what led to some of the back and forth in here, right? When we were looking for more of a pure directional move. Again, like these correlations here, not just, or I should say confluence here, with the icebergs in here has been some pretty good insight. Yeah, I'm still looking. We can hear it now. The Russell's not giving us the YM selling off though too. Yeah, I'm looking for these to drop, you know, and be more aligned with that dollar index here, or euro dollar. It's really fighting it though with the other markets. Keep rotating back and forth in here. Okay, but we did get into our 110 level. I was hoping we'd just go from 110 to 105 and maybe get a little bounce and then right down to 4100. Okay, and that didn't unfold. It's really kind of fighting it on the way down here. Okay, but the direction is still the same though. We're still looking for this set with the tone here of the 6E. Again, what might be fighting it in here is some of this large iceberg buying down here, absorbing some of that selling pressure, right? Now, this was more of maybe a pure directional move here, a little bit better because look, there's no icebergs here. Okay, we do see some stops here, but this is more of like we're starting to understand this order flow at a much deeper level due to this tool. Right now, maybe it's ready to move now, and we're looking for more of a follow through to our 105 and 100 level down here. Okay, because we don't see that iceberg absorption and buying in here. Okay, does that make sense, Navi? You know, we're not really making stuff up here to support some of that. These are just facts that we know there's iceberg buying in here. Okay, and that's that. Now, is it covering? Maybe, or are they buying for you know, a directional move upward? That we don't know. We just know that it was iceberg buying in here, and it slowed the market down. No question about that. But here, it's starting to tip its hand here, right? At least in my book. Right, this is something to look into. This move here, that's when we're looking for the follow through, and we're looking for our 4100. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, this is it's up to interpretation, but that would be the analysis in here to start to understand how to use some of these tools together in here. Okay, that now it's like we're looking for more of a directional move now. The market has kind of given us an answer here. Okay, not just one market, these markets here, these 5 different markets, and that's where this can help you, right? That you can rest a little more assured here, looking for that follow through in this move, and it's working out really nicely so far. Let's see, if I had to go use the settings and activate CVD, will it pop up in the subchart? Yes, it will. Give a numeric value. You want to understand how to read since you can't see it in the knowledge. Yeah, there's a video on it, and it's in the knowledge base. You should be able to see it, find it, follow. I can show you where the video is on it and all the settings in here. That will be quicker than me showing it to you right now. Okay, so let me show you where that is. Okay, go to Bookmap YouTube channel, scroll down here. It's really all the features and components are under here. Okay, so open up this playlist here, features and components, and then you'll see it down here. In fact, let's just do a quick search for CVD, or cumulative volume delta. There it is, cumulative volume delta, right? So here's the video. It's a bit older, however, it is still up to date though. Okay, here, I'll put this into the chat for you. There you go. This is kind of an interesting move here. We did make it down to our 4105, but let's look at them. Look at the dollar here and the Nasdaq picking up on the buy side. Okay, just two, but these are typically leading though, right? So we might get this reversal now, a potential reversal. Let's see if we'll probably get a pullback right here to 4107. I'd be looking for that before we see all these markets hit and start buying. Okay, so these things take a little while typically to kind of turn around. So I'm looking for more of a range bound trade from this 10 down to this 07 here, and we're not getting it. We're seeing the Russell now starting to we're starting to get some volume pressure there. Also euro dollar volume pressure on the buy side. Okay, so anyway, let's retest it up here to the 110. Okay, so we're going to again look for this potential sell-off here. I'm still the primary scenario I'm looking for is a lack of buying pressure up here and selling here at 09, and then move down to like where it just broke out from here at 07, and then maybe we can get the continuation down to 05 again. Okay, but just 07 right now. Okay, any questions on that? Why we kind of filtered this looking for a range bound activity at this time? Okay, we might not get it, right? But that's what we're kind of looking for these to take a little time to turn around here. So we're looking for the selling down at kind of the bottom edge or lack of buying up here to begin with. Okay, at this 4110 area here. Okay, there's some exhaustion right there. Now let's see if we get it. I'd be looking for selling right around this 109 and a quarter for that move to 07. Okay, not getting it. All right, so no harm, no foul. We didn't sell it. We weren't looking to until it got down and started to give us some insight. Let's see, but if there were these buy icebergs, wouldn't you expect it to rise? Yeah, I mean, be careful. I mean, the Navi, like one thing about the stops and icebergs, well, icebergs, okay, stops are different. The one thing about the icebergs is it is one element of the order flow. So it is a confluence, and it's a very good one. But just because there's larger players buying or selling at a certain area, we want to make sure that we put this into context, and the context is order flow first, order flow rules. Okay, within the order flow we can look at the aggressive or we can look at the types of orders that are transacting, like icebergs, and due to that we know that it's usually a larger player because they're using iceberg orders, because they are the ones who want to hide their liquidity from the order book. Okay, so it gives us insight to larger players. Now, we just want that to be aligned with our read on the order flow in general. All right, so that's really the key here. And it will optimize your trading to be able to understand the icebergs within the order flow. Okay, we really can look at it at some of these areas in here and start to understand that. Okay, it's the order type. It is some important players within the order flow, but the order flow still is the big elephant in the room. Okay, euro dollar buying here, buying the dollar. Okay, selling off on the euro. So now we're looking for stock indexes to match that, and I don't see anything yet. You're welcome, Navi. All right, guys, let's see it here. So we just heard that it was this action in here that was euro dollar, right? But no one else, no one else. So what if stock indexes start to hit right in here? Okay, I'm looking for the drop, and I'm looking for our 107 here. Here we go. Let's see it, sellers. There's some exhaustion on the buy side right here. So I'm looking for our sellers right in here. The order flow looks good. They're on the offer here. They're pulling on the bid down here. We're starting to get some sellers. The NASDAQ is starting to pick up a bit. Okay. Just the NASDAQ though. Now again, look at this and read this in here. It was just the NASDAQ down here, right? So another rotation. Okay. All right, now I'm looking again for exhaustion up here, and that's going to be a massive stop run here. Okay, now I'm looking for this to fail though. I want to see this actually, that's a stop run. I'm looking for failure below here. I'm looking for sellers now at 113. Okay, and then I'm looking for the drop. Okay, because this is a stop run. It's not to enter here necessarily. We don't know that if it's buying to enter, but we certainly know that there are a lot of stops being triggered. Typically a stop run is people exiting the market. Okay, we're looking for either new buying up in these area or in this area in here, or a lack of buying and selling to pick up and then drop this market down to a lower level. Okay, so this is new buying in here. Okay, now were they able to was this new buying able to move the market higher? No. Okay, I'm looking for sellers again here, and let's look for a nice drop now because of this stop run. Looking for new sellers, looking for a drop. I'm looking for 10 down to 7, and then maybe we can even get down to our 5 here. Another rotation. Let's put these all on 4 for volume. Okay. And I also want to show the volume pressure here on the bonds. I got all the bonds or notes and 5-year, 2-year, 10-year, 30-year. All right, that's new buying again. But look at the new buying in here. Let's look at the order flow structure. Okay, it's new buying, but they have not been able to lift it higher yet. Okay, so it opens for the scenario of selling, and we're looking for selling here now. Okay, and if we get it, we're looking for not only 12 but, like, 10 in our 7 level here. All right, and yeah, we're probably just going to get a quick move here on all markets, to be honest. It's probably going to hit really quickly, I imagine. Yeah, it does sound a little bit like a video game in here, David. I agree. All right, let's see it. And if this is new buying in here, they're going to be sellers down here. So we're looking for a stop run to the downside. And hearing nothing, right? Not a peep. So doing nothing. Guys, another way, like, we're trying to kind of catch the move, and for all of this, and anticipating these to all kind of key off together at the same time, hit together at the same time. And we're not quite getting it, but I think we're going to get it. And then the question is, though, like, for entry, there's a couple different ways to look at this. Let these correlations tell us, okay, instead of trying to look for the drop here, and then look for a pullback, a low volume pullback, and we don't get a lot of buying in here, right? That's a really nice strategy in here. So we can really look for wait for the pullback move, and this is one of the ways, using this correlation tool or this market pulse tool in here to give us that insight. Okay, or if we just see that there is so much selling in here or buying, then we want to just jump on the other side and ride with it. Okay, it depends. Yeah, right now this is, again, another stop run here. Okay, but the stock markets are correlated there. Okay, sellers, let's see it now. We've got another stop run. Now we're looking for the sellers to really come in and move this market. And I don't see them. Okay, there's our euro. Euro selling off. All right, so anyway, like, let's I've been demoing this so much, and looking at these correlations in here, that we're losing kind of track of the bigger picture in these webinars. But I just think this is such an important tool here, and we're really going over it in detail in here. Let's take a step back here, and let's look at what's going on in the daily chart here, in the candlestick chart, the daily, the hourly here, and also the 15-minute chart on the right. Okay, so the daily chart, well, we're still in this uptrend, and then we had even non-farm, we saw the move higher. I'm sorry, not non-farm, FOMC, the move higher. Non-farm, we had really good numbers, and that correlated or led to a drop in the markets on Friday, because the numbers were so good that the Fed is likely going to continue raising. and that's why we sold off. And let's take a look at the hourly in here. Well, you know, the hourly, in fact, hold on. The hourly, well, we're down in this area in here. All we've done is kind of pull back and basically filled the gap here from the drop. And let's see if you can see that here, right here in the 15-minute, pretty nicely. It didn't quite fill the gap, but it filled this area in here. Now we're looking to see if we get our sellers in here and try to drop it back down into these lower levels here. On the hourly, that would first would be our 05 right here. Then our 90 level down here, down into this wick area down here, which is, you know, let's just call it 65 right now. Okay, so yeah, that's what I'd be looking for in the hourly in here. What about in the daily? Well, first our 05 or our 100, and then yeah, down into this kind of 82-ish level here on the daily. Where's 82 here? Yeah, somewhere maybe in here on this hourly, 89, 90 area here. Here's our 78, 82 area. All right. So yeah, not really seeing much. We just know that the sellers on the 15-minute chart here, they have kind of moved away from after the gap fill here. Okay, so we're just getting kind of a pullback right now. Let's see if that buying pressure continues, or we get more sellers in here and revisit the lows. And so far it's been buying pressure. Interesting. In fact, order flow wise, this is a beautiful pattern in here. Buying pressure, buying pressure, buying pressure up to 20 here. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, lots of buying pressure all across here. Except for YM. So both sides. Yeah, I'm still, we just went through it. Babo. Yeah, this was my misread on this. This is why order flow rules. Like, you know, we look at, like, here we have, like, you know, buying, and then again buying pressure in here, and then we just had this beautiful breakout, right? And I'm looking at these correlated markets and looking for the selling, because we did see some correlations in here on all of the markets. Now we just had the correlations here on all the markets to the buy side. Okay, but we have our beautiful stop run in here as well. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, that was my misread on that, because I was really focused in on these correlations in here. We got the nice follow through on the correlated side was in here, and that's why we're looking for 10 and then 5 and then 4100. Now you can see very clearly, it's a beautiful pattern actually in here. Yeah, there was a misread on that, right? But you know, this is very this is looking great on the sell side. And then look at the order flow. Now this is where it's kind of equal. The buying and selling is kind of equal, still we still have the potential here to fall. Then we see the buying up in here, and we have these buying clusters in here, and here's our pullbacks, right? And we can see that there's some selling in here, but not a whole lot, and then we get more buying in here, right? That's where this leads to these nice moves to the upside. When we get the buying pressure, I mean, just yeah, it's my misread but we get the buying pressure at these higher levels like this, and then you get the continuation. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I was really focused in on something and looking at the correlations to support it. We can take a look at we can I want to do this actually. I want to like maybe close these and then let's look at the bonds. Okay, and maybe keep the dollar open, but the stock indexes will close. Okay, and I'm going to add in here the bonds, and we'll keep the euro dollar as well. Okay, just click on create. We're going to give it a new well, we select the instrument in here. Okay, and we'll start with the bonds. And I'm going to go with volume pressure. And let's open it up here. Volume down to 4. We'll stick with this. Looks good. We'll start it up. Okay. It's up here. Okay, we'll go with that's the. Now we'll go with the notes, the 10-year. Everything looks good. Let's start it up. Oh, okay, wrong algo. Volume pressure. Okay. Let's create another one. Volume pressure. And we're going to go with the 5-year. Got the 10-year, I got the 5-year. Okay. And we'll add one more in here. We're going to add the 2-year. Okay. And we'll keep our euro dollar at the bottom. All right, so now let's just see what the, you probably have always heard that how these bonds are correlated, or these these types of financial instruments are the opposite correlation typically, right? So if we're seeing the notes or some of these financial instruments here, they're buying, right? That typically means that they're transitioning, they're selling off in the stock markets and then buying back into the bonds. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at. Let's see, Bubbo. So you think, but the pulse, they didn't give us such a, yeah, they didn't give us such a great. I mean, we were looking for it, and we kept looking for it, and we're like, no, and then, yeah, it wasn't great, and then instead we got the buying. The euro dollar did stay true to that correlation. We saw the buying of the euro, I believe, right? And then we saw the move to the upside again. So now we're adding more into this in the order flow reading, We're not going purely with order flow. The Dow theory was here after bottoming. That's it. I don't know. Okay, look, so they're selling the euro dollar. Okay, they seem to be buying the bonds, or the 10-year here, right? The notes. All right, well then, if they're buying that, then I would look for these stock markets, and they're selling euro dollar. This is it then, right? All right, so we have a correlation that's kind of setting up. Look for exhaustion up here. Okay, and then I would be looking at right here around 26 for sellers to come in. Yeah. All right. Now I'm looking for them to drop it back down to the bottom of the range here. We do have some exhaustion here. Okay. The book is starting to set up here a bit. Yeah, I'd be looking for this to drop. Okay, down to 22, bottom of the range. I should say 23. Okay, not much selling down here actually. In this S&P, not much selling. So yeah, we really want to see the selling pick up right in here, right? That's what we got to see at the bottom edge. This is still looking pretty good though. There's our selling. Okay, let's see it then. Let's hear it. What about these notes? 5-year, 2-year, 10-year, 30-year. Nothing. There we go. Now they're selling. They're selling. Right? So that means buying on the stocks. Okay? Anyway, guys, this is a little different in the education. Like this is not our typical order flow reading. We've been adding in these correlated markets in here, and it's been just a killer the last like 3 or 4 sessions. Today, not so great. It's been a little different with our, and it's also kind of a little separate from our order flow analysis, right? So. But we're really homing in on like some of these correlated markets here and trying to understand like really how the markets in general in like a more cohesive view here, how they operate through the correlations. So that's what really been the study here. It hasn't been so much about the order flow so far. It's been a combination, but we've really been honing in on these correlated markets in here, or negatively correlated markets. All right, let's see it. Let's see the transition. I want to see these bonds buying here. I want to see the notes 10-year buying. Okay, I want to see selling euro dollar here, right here. And we're talking about the volume pressure in here again. This is the algo we've been looking at. Again, look at this. They're buying bottom edge. At the bottom edge here, we see they're actually buying the notes. Okay, so that's the transition we're looking for. They're buying the notes. They're buying the bonds. Okay, top of the range here, 27. Okay, again, right in here, guys, this is what we're looking for in here, point of control, or high volume node in here, selling. And yeah, we're getting it, and we see high liquidity here at 26, but I'm staying out until I see the correlations here. I want to see some of these financial instruments start to buy. I want to see buyers in here. Okay, looking for a more correlated, bigger move here. Yeah, it is interesting to see how this pans out. You can also see there's some complexity in here in these markets, Peter. It's we're seeing we're not getting the pure direction that we're looking for in a lot of the. I mean, earlier on we were getting that kind of purer direction with the drop, and then on the move back up, though, it was kind of, I don't know. I mean, I didn't really see a lot of correlations in there except for on some of those stop runs. So I don't know kind of what to make of these markets after Friday. The digestion of like what are the larger players in here, or these, what do people think about these markets in here? Because we've seen this nice rally in here, right, to the upside, thinking that the Fed is going to ease on rates, and then we saw FOMC, and we saw the breakout up into these levels up here, above our 4,200 figure up here. That's great. And then we have this non-farm data in here that is in conflict with that, big conflict with it. And that's why we're seeing, I think, in my opinion, like, all this kind of back and forth. Like, look at this move in here. We were looking for just the pullback on this 15-minute chart to about 41.20, and then continuation lower. It's broken out instead, and we're back up into these wicks up in here. Okay, so momentum, at least right now, is on the buy side. Okay, so maybe up to 22 or 32, I'm sorry, and then maybe up into a complete gap fill at 44. And that's just what we're reading in here, right? Like, look at this candle here. Look at the big wick on it, meaning buying pressure. And there's this is going to be a massive stop run as well. Yeah, Pro K is on some of the bonds, and it depends. Again, these correlated markets, they do change. They shift and they change. It's just an understanding of what's going on in kind of the bigger picture is what's important, right? It depends on the environment, but the generalization is true. That typically, if bonds, people are buying the bonds, buying the 10-year, that's a transition from risk environment into risk on into risk off. Okay, it's very, very typical. Maybe you guys remember not too long ago we saw you look at those yield curves and the tails, and your bear and bull flatteners and steepeners, all that kind of stuff, right? Well, that's people transitioning outside of the stock indexes into the interest rate instruments, and that's why those are pretty good indicators, right? And that's what we're doing here, but on a much shorter time frame, basically. And so anyway, that's the theory, since Babo was talking about Dow theory earlier. And I don't want to, we're here to like get insight and look for a move and follow through. That's it, right? Looking for the order flow and for that move to unfold. So, you know, we can talk about theory and this and that and everything, but when it comes down to it, this is putting all of that theory to the test in the order flow. Like right now, look at this. This is a basically a failed breakout so far and a mean reversion trade right back to the mean here, which is right here at 25. Okay, so now are we going to get a bounce off of 25? Well, if you're looking at your mean reversion, yeah, you'd be looking for that. However, what if we get lots of selling here and they're able to break it, okay, at 25? Well, then I'm looking for not only bottom of the range here, but these correlated markets to also confirm that for a bigger move lower. And the next one would be down here at our 20 level, and then yeah, maybe like our 17 level, and then we'd finally get back down to these other areas that we were looking at earlier. Well, sky blue, like you like the Pac-Man sounds, yeah. High frequency trade is unhealthy. Yeah, let me explain a little bit here though. Like when you see some of these algos, like these statistical arbitrage algos trading, these are really informed algos. They know that they're, like, it's been back tested. They're looking for and this is why we're looking and focusing the last several sessions a little less on order flow and a lot more on these correlated markets, okay, and aligning the two correlations with the order flow. You know, when you look at some of those algos, you know, the stat arb algos, they're comparing value of one instrument to another, and that makes really good sense. Okay, so let's see right now if we get some correlations in these markets here. Them, you know, buying the bonds, selling the stock indexes here through this high volume node here. That's what one of the scenarios we'd look for. Right, and now we're comparing the different instruments in here, because looking at just one instrument, like if we're just looking at the S&P, and you know, we don't know what the other stock indexes are doing, or we don't know what maybe some of these interest rate products are doing, then you know, we have less insight to the move unfolding. You know, it's compared to what is the key, right? And that's contextual. Peter used to scalp the NQ and SES some years ago. Yeah. You've been looking for something like this for a while. That's nice to hear. Yeah, I mean, I think you're really going to like Bookmap, and some of these other tools we have in Bookmap. This one is new. This Market Pulse tool, and there's multiple algos that we covered on Friday, and we're just looking at volume pressure right now. But we changed up the correlations a little bit. We're looking at these interest rate products at the moment, okay, and euro dollar. Okay, we're coming up on our European close, guys, as well. So we're going to get a little volatility in here. All right, starting to buy the bonds. Okay, bonds is actually hitting first. The ZB, okay, the 30-year. It's this one up here. It just ticked off a little bit. You didn't hear too much. Thanks, ProK. Put a link in there to the market pulse right here. Excellent. That's very helpful. Guys, how you can set this up and how you can read some of the get some of the insight in here. So here you can see this trying to push through now, and I'm not hearing much though, right? So it doesn't give me a good feeling for the continuation on this, right? I want to see it when all these markets are aligned. That means these interest rates that people are buying it. Okay, so now they're starting to buy the 5-year. Somebody is. Okay, that's not bad. Now, does it transition to some of these other products? Yeah. Okay, our 10-year starting to ramp up. Okay, 30-year. Not much. Now, see, look at, they're all selling. So look at that. I mean, like these larger, that's larger players just kind of battling and duking it out in here. And this one's a little confusing because they're selling euro dollar here as well. This one's been a really good one for us, I think. It's been kind of a leader in here. And usually NASDAQ was, or Russell was kind of next. But you know, now we're looking at all these interest rate products here. Okay, back up above point of control, starting to find some buyers. All right, well, let's go through a couple order flow scenarios in here. We're looking for sellers and big selling, guys, for this to move. It has to be below the point of control. This is what makes the market move away from a value area, is big selling down here, or you know, big buying back up here. This is what will build out the profile. If we get buyers up at 27 and a quarter or 27 and a half, this profile here will build out. We'll start to see more volume trading up there. Okay, now maybe we see that unfold, and it builds it out and becomes a big P-shaped profile, and we'll get a move higher, right, back up into maybe 4140 here. If we don't, and we see some pretty big selling down here, starting to move the market away from the value area here on high sell volume, we're likely going to get the move and the follow through down into these lower levels here, our 20 level. Okay, so we got some buyers in here, but it's really been quiet. Okay, again, buying in here in the S&P, but really quiet in the interest rate products. European close coming up. Order flow wise, like you know, we look at this as kind of a strong impulse move, low volume. This is our low volume pullback in here, and more buying back up here again, right? And there's follow through to the upside. It's really eerie to see this or hear this, that none of these interest rate products are there's no money flow shift here, selling or buying. This is purely stock index. That's a nice move. Yeah, I mean, this is again like a kind of odd day, and trying to still like kind of at your guys' expense. Sorry about that. Like covering this new tool in here, but really looking for optimizing these moves when we see like a more pure direction unfold with the correlated markets. And it makes good sense. It's very contextual, comparing one thing to the other. But again, you can see like order flow wise, this is what we saw: buying in here, more buying in here, and then we did get follow through in the order flow move here. Okay, now let's see if we get a mean reversion type of activity in here, and that would be a transition into these interest rate products and buying, and I don't see anything right now. And I would want to see that. Guys, another one in here for you bond traders. You're going to note how, well, I shouldn't maybe use the word note. You're going to recognize, maybe large purchases in the 2-year, 5-year, 10-year before you see the 30-year start to bounce or buy. This is something to consider for you bond traders. This is such a great tool. It makes good sense. You'll see that how these shorter term interest rate products can affect the longer term. Okay, now let's see if bottom edge here after this move up and this pullback in here, the order flow is still bullish here, but I'm looking for these right here at 30. I want to see these buying of the interest rate products here. Okay, and then a move back down to maybe 25 here. Okay, just a scenario, and outlining a scenario in here, and it didn't unfold. Let's see, Chris, what are let's get through it here. Some of the questions you guys have, good questions in here. And also, Josh, you have a question in here about TPOs. Yeah, I mean, we can, I'm not looking at market profile in here. We have volume profile columns though. So if you want to look at low volume nodes, high volume nodes, etc. But your single prints in certain periods, in the letters, we don't have that information in here. But that's something you can integrate within your look for the order flow to support that, right? So for example, you come into a TPO, then all right, does it exhaust in the order flow? Do you start to see someone like maybe try to trade it back to a previous area, or does it power through that area on high volume? If it does, then you look for the continuation through that area typically, right? So there's different ways to look at it, Josh, in terms of the order flow around those areas. All right, let me get to some other questions in here, and we're starting to hear some things as this European close approaches. So we're gonna see some volatility in here. All right, but let me get to these questions in here, because it's been a kind of an odd, very odd session, I think. What are the buyers? At least the order flow wise, it has not been odd really at all. This is really pretty bullish order flow in here, and you know, beautiful move back up into, it's breaking out and making highs for the day. Okay, and order flow wise, there's nothing to think any differently. Like, you know, here buyers again. Now, do we get buyers up in here a little bit? Okay, well, do we get continuation? Well, here, look at this. There's some exhaustion and sellers coming in. So, all right, not yet. Be looking for sellers to try to take it back down to the bottom of the range, and then maybe a mean reversion trade back down to the point of control down here around 25. And that's what I'd be looking for. But anyway, that's the order flow. Okay, we've been talking a lot about these correlated markets. So Sky or Chris, what are the buyer sellers value in Market Pulse? Are those current price bid ask depth of the symbols? All right, so let's go through the settings in here. Right click in it, and then you'll open up the settings. It's based on a training period here, which means a sliding window of 5 minutes of data always. Okay, from the current market to the last 5 minutes, and that's what it's making that's the setting, that's the output here. Now there's a pullback though on it that pulls it back to the center, and that is the half-life period here with 10 seconds. Okay, so what that means is, let's say you get a spike of like 100 in volume. Okay, this is by the aggressor because we're looking at volume pressure here. So it's by the aggressor, and let's say, suppose you got 100, and it just happened really quickly in the last 10 seconds or so. All right, so you got 100, and that's the value right now, 100. All right, well, and no transactions happen after that. Well, within another 10 seconds, it will retrace back to 50 at that point. All right, so that's what this is, the half-life period. It's always half-life. If within another 10 seconds there is no action of volume at all, it will retrace back to 25 at that point. Okay, so that's how the half-life works, and it's based off of 5 minutes of sliding data. Okay, so that's how it works in here with the settings. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Okay, excellent, got it. Let's see, Wolf, you're asking, actually replying to Sky Blue. Let's say, so couldn't we imagine another trading rule without these ultra speed algos? Well, there's some, I mean, it depends on the players here. There's so many different players in these markets, right? Some are high frequency, some are, you know, not. Some are, you know, algos that are trading at very low time frames. I mean, they're like some of these maybe stat arb algos are trading like kind of a medium term time frame, right? So, but the high frequency stuff, it really depends. It just depends. Those are very specific players, and there's a lot of market making algos, and that's a different player, which are very, very simple algos, but they're extremely efficient and effective, and they're making markets. They will be providing liquidity or pulling that liquidity depending on what they think is advantageous to themselves. Okay, but they're making markets. Their job is to provide liquidity. Okay, but like, for example, they come up here and you know, this high liquidity just filled right here. Okay, so now do we see more buyers in here? And here's high liquidity up here now at 35 and 37. Okay, well, I don't see any buyers interested, so we're going to find sellers probably here right at 34. Okay, let's see, we got a rotation. I'm looking for sellers here at 34, and then the move back down to this liquidity down here at 32. Okay, because these guys got filled in here and I don't see more buyers yet. If we do get buyers, then there'll be something else. Okay, but look, we're not. Here are the sellers. Here's going to be the move we're going to look for, is this move from here, 34, down to 32. Okay, maybe even 31 and a half. They just pulled in here. So we're looking for 31 and a half, right? Again, reading this context of order flow in here. All right, so it depends on the players in here, and I wouldn't have to, don't worry about it, about all these high frequency guys. Yeah, I mean, they're trading at levels you wouldn't believe. Like, you know, we're talking sub-second levels, and you know, providing liquidity down at, we're still at milliseconds here. We can zoom in and look at micro or nanoseconds, and that's something very, very different. Okay, unless you're trading in high frequency, then you know, you'd be looking at that. So look, you know, here's our move down to 32. Now what happened? Well, we came back up and we found buyers back up above. Okay, and now they traded into this area. We did find buyers here, and we're also finding sellers now too. So this is pretty equal, right? Anyway, you can see, like, when we boil it down, all these correlations, yes, we want to add this into the order flow, but tomorrow we're gonna refocus back on order flow, and that's really the key here, because when we start to understand like these elements in here and we don't get buyers again, we're looking for these pullbacks. Okay, you know, if we don't get buyers up here and we get sellers down here, and the book is starting to shift and we see more on the offer in these areas here and less on the bid, they're pulling, we're looking for those sellers to drive it back down into those levels. Okay, or the opposite scenario would be like we're looking for support here on the bid, find buyers and these guys at 35 to pull that liquidity. Okay, and we can look for these moves to more likely to unfold at those points. All right, so I hope that answers your question in here. Let's see what Wolf had said. Yeah, okay, Wolf, I guess I'm not sure I quite follow on the answer there. Why do we don't you display some dots when imbalances do occur? We do have imbalance indicators up here. You can also look at your cumulative volume delta if you want to look at you know, ranges and imbalances here, okay, between buyers and sellers. And you will also see like absorption and exhaustion and some of those areas, sky blue. Yeah, this is the imbalance indicator here, which comes with Global Plus, is a percentage, as you can see up here. Yeah, there's also liquidity tracker, or we covered this algo on Friday, that looks at the change in here. Let me just bring it up. It's this algo here, order size tracker. Okay, you need to have the MBO data for that. Okay, and you can see what was added or pulled. So that's another algo in here, and it's also part of the stops and icebergs or MBO bundle. Okay, you get the liquidity tracker. Okay, which tracks liquidity that is added and pulled, and is plotted here in the subchart. Yeah, and you can set it however you want as well. Yeah, Peter, up to you. Like market profile, volume profile, you know, a lot of these guys look at both, have both lined up on the chart. I like both, you know, together quite a bit, because one is time and acceptance, and the other one is about volume and acceptance in a range. or above or below an important area. And they're both important. That's why you have TWAPs and VWAPs. Let's see here. Chopper, you're new when there's strong buying after reaching a price level and lots of orders red on the heat map. New strong limits do not seem to follow. Does that happen? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the context, Chopper. That's exactly right. And that's what we want to understand here in the order flow is the context. And that's why I've been kind of harping on this context of other markets within the order flow as well with this volume pressure tool and this new market pulse tool. Let's see. Yeah, and anyway, Chopper, if you do see that, like the context is kind of like this here. I mean, here they're following up, right, on the bid, but we've seen it trade into high liquidity here, here, and here, right? No question. It's pretty easy for sellers to cut through this area and trade back down to here, but they're supporting it down here. But here we are. And did they trade? No, they did not. This is more like a spoof. It's not really a spoof, but it's kind of like it. I mean, they had no intent to trade, basically. They're showing their liquidity on the bid to be buyers, but they're not here to buy. They pulled their liquidity here and here. All right, so that gives some insight. All right, and let's see here. Wolf, aside from support and resistance in order flow terms, what could be going on in Friday's low being resistance today at the highs? Are block orders a part of it? Yeah, you can filter your volume for block orders if you like. New high of the day now. Yeah, Babu, I misread that, and it just kills me because this is just such a beautiful pattern in here. Red on the downside, green on the upside, and it's followed through really nicely. But now look at the sellers are starting to come in right now. Okay, and they did break a lower low here. Okay, below this swing here. Okay, now we're looking for the interest rate products, so we want to see the transition, right? And we're not quite seeing that yet, so maybe just choppy at the moment. Okay, we want to see people transitioning from stock indexes into interest rate products, and we're not seeing that right now. Okay. Well, let's take a look at Friday's low in here. Well, I mean, in terms of like we're just going to talk in terms of order flow so far. Like this has been pretty back and forth today, but we opened up lower here. Okay, so and we opened up below all this price action in here. So we got kind of a partial gap fill here, and then now it's breaking up to new highs here. So maybe we get a full gap fill. Maybe we come up into these wicks up in here before we see any sort of failure in here. Maybe it has to come up all the way, further. That's why what if, but like just read the order flow and just be really simple with that. And who's in control of moves and where might they move it? Okay, we can look at these areas here and see if they will move it to those areas. Okay, is there liquidity up in those areas? What's the condition of the current market? And that's why we also wanted to look at some of the correlated markets. Are they following suit as well? Well, then that move is more likely to unfold. So I hope I answered your questions there. Yeah, block orders are just a part of it. This is why in Bookmap you can filter for block orders, but what you can do in here is hold on a minute. Yeah, let me quickly demo that for you. All right, so in the volume dots, you can right click on a volume dot, go to the volume dot settings in here, and then under volume dots here, minimum trade size. This is your filter for your block orders. Okay, so if I put in 100, or let's say 50, let's put in 50. Okay, so I'm looking for a transaction in the S&P E-mini where it's 50 or more, and here they are. Okay, and it's by the delta in here, buy minus sell. So if I hover over some of these little areas in here, it'll tell me this was for 50, this one here is for 70. All right, so these are your bigger block orders, and that's one thing to take a look at. But what we usually look for is not, you can look for your block orders, that's fine. In the algorithmic environment though, what happens a lot here is those block orders over the years have been replaced with not one single order of 100 or 50, but 50 or 100 orders filled for one each. Okay, so because that will kind of disguise the position, but we have a filter in here. What you can input like 1,000 here, for example, and it will kind of like filter that and start to show us areas like, well, 1,000 is a little too high. Okay, we can put in 200, for example. Right, and that's going to give us maybe a little bit more insight, where 200 orders traded very, very quickly in a very, very small time frame. Right, and we can see that right in here. Right, some selling came in very, very quickly here. Okay, so yeah, it looks even better for this move to 25 now. This was finally something we're looking for, was back into the most traded level here, which is 25. Okay, and looks pretty probable now that that's the move we're going to get. Okay, because look, some selling came in and moved the market lower. We're starting to see a little bit of transition into some of the interest rates. All right, makes sense. What's my PC configuration? I forget what I have here. It's a gaming computer, but it's one of the kind of it's not really high end. It was off the shelf because during the pandemic I couldn't get like a high end one. Let me show you where you can find though the configurations. Okay, go to bookmap.com. Actually, and go right to the knowledge base here. Okay, and then right under here in the user guide section, Bookmap system requirements, click on that. We've got it for Windows, we've got it for PC, Mac, but you can see there's various configurations that we have in here. So for example, recommended or heavy, if you're a heavy user using the market by order data and the stops and icebergs, then this is the configuration to look at. Okay, if you're not, you're more of a light reader user, then we have another configuration. Now this is the minimum requirement here. Okay, so there you go, that's where you can find it, and that should answer your question. All right, guys, anyway, I'm 15 minutes over. Tom B is up and running the next webinar. He's volume profile, so Peter, you might be interested in that one, and some of you other guys as well. You might want to jump over. It should transition right into that, or just go back to our YouTube or our Discord channel and watch the webinar with Tom B. Doug with options is after that, and then finally end of the day we have the algo boys looking at their specific price levels. Okay, All right, guys. So anyway, we'll look more in the order flow tomorrow. We'll still look at the correlations in here, but today was it was very kind of mixed with the correlations. So I don't know what I think about all these moves in here today. This has been a strong move on the S&P to the upside, but I'm getting some really kind of weird kind of overall insights from the the correlated markets with this market pulse tool. Okay, so I'm not sure what I think about it yet. Uh, maybe this is just kind of a low volume pullback up into these areas before a move back down to some of the lows. Not sure, not sure. All right, so anyway, it's a new tool, and we're just starting to add this in. The last 3 or 4 sessions have been just excellent with it. We've been just nailing it. Today's been the first day where we haven't really nailed it with the market pulse tool. Anyway, guys, thanks for coming, everybody, and we will catch up with you tomorrow. Okay, bye bye.